Hello, this is the Kenyan Siasa. Adam beholds the Bali Yodawa Nadawa. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, the changing terrains in the course of our voyage might sometimes push us to adapt a new navigation formula. As the long adage states, it is only a fool who doesn't change. The former Chief Justice, David Kemuma Maraga, is among the Kenyans that have already declared the aspiration to vie for the presidency in the 2027 general elections. For a long time, Maraga has been a lone ranger with regards to his aspiration of vying for the presidency in the 2027 general elections. By saying that he has been a lone ranger, we basically mean that he has not associated himself with any political formation or with any political bloc that is in scramble for the presidency in the 2027 general elections. He has been alone in his path. However, yesterday, something interesting took place. Maraga was being hosted in a certain media house, and a question was posed whether there was a possibility of him creating a working relationship with President William Ruto or with the other political faction of the United Opposition in the forthcoming 2027 general elections. His answer was very categorical that he can't work with President William Ruto in the 2027 general elections. However, on the other political faction of United Opposition, he said that he might make some consideration. This is forming the basis of this episode analysis because for a long time, since Maraga declared his ambition to vie for the presidency in the 2027 general elections, he has been a lone ranger. And therefore, why the change of tone now? We can say boldly that the Maraga presidency ambition or the possibility of Maraga vying for the presidency in the 2027 general election to a great extent was brought to the limelight by the Gen Z wave. The Gen Z wave, blended with the internet euphoria, gave birth to a reality or a possibility of David Maraga vying for the presidency. From the word go, he didn't come out by himself and declared that he wanted to vie for the presidency. The narrative, the genesis of this narrative, was initiated by the Gen Z wave, and to a great extent, or in extension, the internet euphoria. And ultimately, David Kemuma Maraga succumbed to the pressure, succumbed to the impetus that was being created by the Gen Z wave and the internet for him to vie for the presidency. He finally gave it a warm reception, embraced it, and he actually declared that indeed he is willing to vie for the presidency in the coming 2027 general elections. And the journey began. However, as days go by, the Gen Z wave has been withering. The internet euphoria has become gloomy. Therefore, the fundamental pillars that were holding his possibility to vie for the presidency in the 2027 general elections are now not formidable. And therefore, he needs to look for a certain anchor that will hold this aspiration. Therefore, we can say that considering that The wave of Gen Z that brought this idea withering, and again the internet euphoria that brought this possibility on the limelight becoming gloomy, one Maraga has to look for another anchorage that will help him propel his ambition to vie for the presidency. And this might have pushed him to now start considering other options in his aspiration to vie for the presidency in the 2027 general elections. Another factor that we can say might have made David Kemuma Maraga to start considering working with the Rigathi faction, with the Rigathi political faction, is the Matiang'i factor. You know it very well that right now, Matiang'i's star has risen a great deal in the Gusii region. Kemuma Maraga also comes from the Gusii region. But right now, the Matiang'i star has risen a great deal compared to his in the Gusii region. And therefore, there is no way that he will stand a good chance of vying for the presidency, considering that there is another person from the Gusii region whose star is at a higher place compared to his. And you know it very well that our politics in Kenya, our politics are local. Our politics are ethnic-based. Therefore, at this juncture, taking into consideration that Fred Okengo Matiang'i's star has risen a great deal, he has to go back to the drawing board and figure out whether there are some other modalities that can be developed with regards to a working formula towards this aspiration in the 2027 general elections. Another factor that we can say that maybe pushed him to consider developing a working relationship with the Rigathi faction, political side, is the fact that at the end of the day, it's all about numbers. Right now, you know it very well that for you to become the president of this nation, you must get 50+% of the total votes that will be casted in that particular elections. The Gusii community, with regards to population, comes at number 6. And therefore, for you to vie for the presidency and clinch the victory, you need to work with other communities. And by considering the Rigathi Gachagua's faction, Rigathi comes from the Gema voter-rich bloc. With this, he will get a good head start in his aspiration to vie for in his aspiration to clinch the presidency. Therefore, whether you like it or you don't like it, you have to create a working relationship with other voting ethnic blocs for you to gather the required numbers. And again, these 2027 general elections is going to be among the most expensive elections that Kenya has ever had. And this means that you need to be well endowed with regards to cash in your pocket for purpose of campaign. And the beauty of forming a coalition or a working arrangement with other like-minded politicians is that it will create an awesome avenue for you to raise finances easily that will help you in the budget of campaigning in that particular elections. Dear folks of the Kenyan Siasa, we reach the halt of this episode. For those of you who are subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we're humbled, we're glad, thank you. And for those of you who are not subscribed to our YouTube channel, the Kenyan Siasa, we beseech you to show some love by subscribing, then hit on the notification bell whenever we upload content. Until next time, I'm Jabali, Wadawa, and Adawa. Bye-bye.